Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Eric Adams. Eric Adams, he has a challenger. So his seat is up for, not necessarily for grabs, but it is in jeopardy of him losing his mayor seat. And it is another progressive challenger. Okay, so we'll discuss that. And we also are going to discuss Georgia election fraud. We know there's a big case that Donald Trump is facing. They put it on hold because the Supreme Court is ruling, Georgia State Supreme Court is ruling whether or not Fani Willis should be removed. But we do have some more information in regards to this voter fraud, and not on Donald Trump, but he claims there was voter fraud, and we have some more information in regards to that. So we'll discuss that. And also, Kamala Harris. White Dudes for Kamala Harris was online last night giving their support for Kamala Harris. So we'll discuss that. We have a couple of clips that I want to show you. So that's all on today on another episode of Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Put in the chat and let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Noble Young in the building. MAGA, what is good? Stephen Nimley, what is good? It's always great to see you guys. We're going to get into it. Like I said, put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Our first story for the hour, I wasn't surprised when I saw this. It just came out where Eric Adams, it's been challenging for him, okay, to say the least. Eric Adams' mayorship has been challenging for him because he's dealing with the migrant crisis. He is a safe haven. So he receives some boatload of migrants from the southern border, and then they're coming across another way into New York City. So, and I believe he received about 100,000 migrants over the last year. Okay. And his city is suffering. I guess one of his solutions were to cut down local, the spending, municipality spending to fund the migrant crisis. And of course, his residents was mad as hell with them on some of the decisions that they decided to cut, and the increased crime in New York City because of the migrant crisis. Because most of the crime that's been happening in New York City, like killings and all that good stuff. Let me say this. That's been in the news. They come to find out it's illegal alien assailant. Okay. All right. Thank you. Illegal alien assailant. So let's take a look at this first story. I just want to make sure you guys can see my tab. Okay, yeah, you can see it. So, he is running for re-election, but he does have a challenger, and it's saying that his challenger is New York City comptroller. Brad Lander is running for mayor. Comptroller, they just basically, I guess he works in the financial industry. I'm assuming he has his accounting degree and also computer science degree, maybe, or he specializes in that, but comptroller. So he looks at computers and financial data all day. Okay. And it says comptroller Brad Lander, a prominent progressive who has criticized Mayor Eric Adams' management of the city, announced on Tuesday that he will enter next year's Democratic primary for mayor. Why does a city that means so much to so many people have leadership that delivers so little for so few? And Lander said in the campaign video, nothing can replace the New York City, but we can replace the leader when they fail. The basic test of the job. Okay, so he's blasting Mayor Eric Adams because of his leadership. And he cites, they're citing his approval, Mayor Eric Adams' approval rating. I guess it's a historical low of 28%. A rate from local voters. Critics have pointed to his widely unpopular budget cuts, his handling of migrant crisis, and an ongoing federal investigation into his 2021 campaign fundraiser. And we talked about that last year because last year the FBI ended up looking into several of his top heads of his campaign managers, and they end up confiscating a couple of items from his campaign manager. They actually took Mayor Eric Adams' phone and some of his electronic devices, but they never really the FBI never mentioned that they were probing into actual Eric Adams and just his campaign managers. The young girl, she's like 26 or 20. She might be younger than that. And then another individual that was in charge of his campaign. Okay, and it says the mayor has denied any wrongdoing related to his campaign, but how that case wraps up could further upend the race. Okay. And he said, I just keep talking to people who feel we are grinding. He said, barring one of the mayor's popular catchphrases, we don't see City Hall delivering on its promises. Okay. And it says everyone will like being in a city that doesn't have folks sleeping on the streets who are in danger to themselves and others. Okay. Adams, who has staked his mayoralty, I don't know why they will write that, on a public safety and overseeing decline in crime, is still expected to be a formidable opponent. He has raised millions of dollars for his re-election bid, which his campaign has said could potentially grow to $8 million under the city's public matching funds program. Adams has argued that his critics have not given him adequate credit for his accomplishment, which he says include job growth, housing production, and opportunities for people of color and women. Mayor and his allies have compared Adams to David Dinkins, the city's first black mayor who lost his re-election bid to a Republican, Rudy Giuliani, and implied that criticisms of Adams, particularly as a manager, have been motivated by racism. So now you're pulling a race card already? Come on, dude. No. Just look at the state of your city. Okay, I totally agree that you inherited probably some of the problems, or probably 90% of the problems. But you failed to realize that these were your problems. They were not going to go away, but these were your problems. There were no one else. You knew about these problems before you took leadership. So coded words incompetence, we know what that means, Adams told reporters earlier this month. This is what bothers me. And I've been seeing this on when they've been using DEI against Kamala Harris and incompetent against Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris and her supporters, and even Eric Adams and his supporters, tend to say, oh, no, this is racism. You're using these terms because you're being racist. No, how about you're just incompetent? How about that? I could give Mayor Eric Adams. I think he's, and I'm not for sure, and maybe I'm speaking too soon. I think he's handled New York City better than Brandon Johnson. I do feel he's. What am I doing here? Okay. I believe he's handled his city better than Brandon Johnson, but you and Brandon Johnson knew that you took on this migrant crisis. You knew that you were coming out the pandemic. You knew that you had some budget problems already, but you still chose to not deal with it or wait for the federal government. And I'm not for sure. I guess they wanted chaos to help you out. But then you plan to fail. And then you look to the governor and Kathy Hochul, and she's full of shit. They didn't relieve you of nothing. She's full of crap too. But one thing, they did build a tent way out somewhere, and the migrants didn't even want to go there. Illegal aliens. Let's put it, explain them valid. They're illegal aliens. That's who they are. Okay. So anyway, he has a challenger. Eric Adams has a challenger, and he's basically saying, "Oh, they're just doing that because I'm a black man." Okay. Let's get to some of your chats. Hello, Lexi. It's always good to see you. Lexi says we've had a crime wave in Rhode Island last few months, but all but 2 done by illegals. Okay. I could get with that. But like I said, Eric Adams, he's trying to blame or place blame on other people. But a few months ago in January, I think it was, you were saying, "Oh, look how diverse my council is, and look how diverse my team is. I have nothing but women staff, and we have the most diverse council in the United States of America." Well, if your leadership is diverse, shouldn't they be talented too? Shouldn't they know how to do their job? I wouldn't want to hire people under me because how they look, because they're gonna make me look bad. I'm just saying, this is my own personal opinion. Okay, you guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. Another thing with New York City. I'm trying to see. No, New York City, I think it was. They had a problem with the in the suburb. There was a shooting or a killing, and they showed it on video, and they was trying to find out the suspect of who was responsible for this crime, and it happened right outside of one of the migrant shelters, and they were trying to find this individual, and I'm assuming they killed 2 people or something like that, and I believe one was a woman. It actually was a shooting too. It was a deadly shooting. This happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. It says a woman killed and 2 others wounded in shooting near New York City migrant shelter. A woman was called and 2 people were wounded in the shooting near New York migrant shelter as a crowd gathered for the results of the Venezuelan presidential election. A woman was killed, and these are Venezuelans, okay? These are Venezuelans. Venezuelans, they're coming over here. It's probably some of them escaping from persecution, and because they've done a crime, over in Venezuela, so they're over here. Some people probably are over here because they're trying to get a better life because it's communism over there. Okay, and they just held the election and they overthrown their dictator and he refused to leave. And they took to the street and I believe finally he left. But this is what United States, Kamala Harris, they believe in communism. That video I showed you yesterday, she described communism. She talking about equity and equality. We all need to end up in the same place. Well, no, that's not logical. Because your same effort might not be my same effort. Anyway, what I was getting at, Venezuela is a communistic country. And they came over here. Some of them are criminals and they came over here. Matter of fact, I believe their government probably gave them a one-way ticket over here and said, hey, if you get over there, we won't look for you. That's what I believe. Anyway, so this happened around 3:30 on Randall's Island, okay? And they had, let me see if they show a picture. They had a picture of the guy. And he was a illegal immigrant, basically, over here killing people. And how the hell did he get a gun? Well, how do kids get a gun? Okay, how do kids get guns and or illegal guns? How does any other criminal gets guns? They get it off some gun dealer in the back alley somewhere. I'm assuming that's how it will work. Okay, so this is some of the things that Eric Adams, he has a uphill battle to face, because are you going to be able to give this city a turnaround before your primaries? I'm not for sure. It's an uphill battle for him. Okay, he has to do some major cleanup to get these people off the street. And to make the people of New York City feel safe. Okay. So like I said, you guys let me know what you think about that. Now, our next story I want to talk about is the election fraud. This is the election fraud case. Now, remember, there were a rumor, and I don't necessarily, it was a rumor. They were in session or in the court about, it was alleged 364,000 ballots that were not counted in Georgia. 364 or 386,000, something like that. But they were not counted. Okay, we're talking about ballots that were not counted, and we mad that January 6th happened. Reason why January 6th happened, because some January 6ers believe that the election was stolen. And then we find this out. Okay, it says right here. Says, and here it is, Georgia Election Board confirms beyond a shadow of a doubt, Fulton County is missing 380,761 ballot images. That's how they certify the election results. You scan your ballot, and then they go back to see if we have images for all the scanned ballots. That's what they do. That's how they certify elections. Fulton County failed to verify signatures for 148,000 ballots. So now you got 380 ballots missing. And then they didn't verify 148,000. If you didn't verify the signatures, you should throw those out. That's why they don't want you to have a voter ID. That's exactly what, because we just accept anybody. We could get away with voter fraud, mass voter fraud. This is basically mass voter fraud. Okay. And it says Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss double scan ballots. Are they going to get charged with anything with election fraud? They double scan ballots. Fannie Bang Bang Willis was in fact duplicated to the district attorney's office. In other words, Fulton County violated the Georgia state election laws.
Does the investigation confirm that there are missing ballot images?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know why 380,761 ballot images from Election Day machine count are not available?
We subpoenaed Fulton County for all of their ballot images. We received approximately 518,000 ballot images.
From Election Day?
Those were for the recount.
Those are from the recount, but we have no ballot images for 380,761 ballots from Election Day, correct?
What was subpoenaed was the ballot images for the recount because that's what this case was about, not the election day.
Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
As with the investigators, we have not been apprised of this allegation. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I have no idea what the basis of that allegation is, and so we would have to, we can't answer that at this time.
Would Fulton County agree that every vote should have a ballot image?
Okay, so she was just questioning them about the missing images on election day. And the lady responded, oh, that wasn't that subpoena. We got a subpoena for the recount. And then she re-asked the question, okay, you're not aware, or why were these images missing? And the lady was like, well, we were just realized that we were being questioned about this. Well, if I was certifying an election, if I was the person to certify the election, reconciliation, I'm reconciliation of all my ballots. I had 900 signatures that signed on this book, or, they verified the signatures, and then they received the ballot. I got 900 numbers, ballot ticket numbers. I had 900 images scanned. So I have 900 ballots. It would be a red flag to me if I had 900 signatures and 350 images scanned. Wouldn't that be a red flag? So this is what I'm saying. Okay, and then we're going to do a recount. Well, let's talk about these 350 images that's missing. This is a red flag. This is what I'm thinking. I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm assuming this is what they would do. You when you go in and give your ID, they look for your name. This is your district. They make you fill out this form. You got to sign the form. They check your ID with the form, and then they transfer it over to this the ballot list. They by your name. They put the ballot number that they give you. They give back your ID. You go vote. Then you put it in the Scantron or the scanning machine. Then the scanning machine collects it. I'm pretty sure it's documented. It's all computer generated, but they scan the images, and then it probably online, it probably has, where it could code the actual ballot number and what you voted. I'm assuming it has to be, they probably don't record the number, but I'm pretty sure they could scan the images in case they have to do a manual recount. And then the person that's doing the manual recount, they look at the scanned images, and another person, an independent party or independent person, they do a recount on by the paper. Something has to match. All of it must match. If it doesn't match, then something went wrong. Correct? You guys let me know if I'm going in the same direction. So that's what she's questioning them now, and it gets this is on their Zoom, and when they're questioning different witnesses.
Somewhere along the line, and I am sorry, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I had asked the question, well, okay, well, what did we do for signature verification? And the comment I got back was, which frankly at that time floored me, was, well, we didn't do any. And I remember I forget where I was, I was on a phone call, I forget exactly, and I apologize, it's been so long. But, I do remember that comment that, we didn't do any. Now, and he's talking about the 2020 election, okay? So this is why, this just happened probably about a couple of weeks ago or last week. But, we're talking about the 2020 election. So you're telling me that you asked someone, how did you verify signatures? Oh, we didn't verify signatures. Well, isn't that part of your procedure to verify people's signatures? So, and like I mentioned before, they had 148,000 signatures or ballots that was not verified, signature verified. Of course, I took that saying, all right, well, by law, you've got to do signature verification. You've got to at least have somebody looking at this. And one side of that is that whomever you have that is looking at is supposed to be, verifying signature. That if there is no signature on the oath envelope, then how are you curing it, or what are you doing with them? And I remember going down, on from that and said, well, there weren't many, so we just sent them back out, and if they reply on time, then they'll get their vote counted. And I thought that was a little weak, but anyway, that's as I recall, that's what I was told.
All right, sir.
Those are primarily, ladies and gentlemen, that was primarily in my mind and in my reasoning, why I was not comfortable, in certifying.
Was placed there by.
So now this video, what they're portraying to you, so you have the people that's counting the ballots and certifying the election, blah, blah, blah. And they go out on break, and then two individuals decided to roll in suitcase and decided, or from under the table, which is on this upper right-hand screen, and they show this other person, bringing the suitcase out, or they bring two suitcases in and bring the suitcase out and start counting those ballots while everyone is gone. Nobody's there to keep tabs on them.
The lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So These machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules?
So that's another prime example. These videos are pretty blurry, but these individuals were there when no one else was there, and they were running these machines or counting these ballots by themselves. Okay. Oversight, poor oversight. I'm not for sure. If they break, they all supposed to break at one time. I'm assuming that's why she mentioned that. And no one should be counting ballots or pulling out ballots from under the table, because all the ballots supposed to be located in this area. Where the hell these come from? Don't understand that.
And if you don't,
Now this video is really crazy. Now these are actual scan images, and they go through and they look at the ballot and they check to see the duplication. So it's different ballots, but the same person filled these ballots out.
if you think that maybe that's, if you think that maybe that's just a, a mistake or just a coincidence, here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republican's written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has.
And both of the ballots, okay, I'll let him finish.
This little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay, and do you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total, and I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them. But these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same. This one's got the little tail on the side.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches? Like,
I don't remember what the totals were when the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
so
occurred.
if you see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly the same.
Exact same. And the batch number, was it 5162?
Also, scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch is scanned several times.
So they were double scanning the ballots. Double scanning the ballots. And I don't know how the system was able to generate a different ballot number, but here you could visibly see whoever filled this one out, they filled it out the same way. That's impossible unless it's a duplicate, unless it's a copy of the previous or whatever ballot of the original. So election fraud happened in Georgia. And I believe, I don't know if anybody's going to be prosecuted or held responsible for this. It would be very interesting for us to find out who will be held responsible for this. Well, because, they prosecuted some of Trump's election certifiers. I know they tried to, and they did. They end up with felonies. Some of the elderly people in Michigan, they prosecuted them. It was, of course, it's that big case in Georgia. They tried to overturn the election or certify false election results in Georgia, and that's that RICO charge. They said it's a whole big thing against Donald Trump. So I would like to see, and I would like to hear more information. What will happen with these people, and who will be held responsible? Who will be held responsible for this? Now, this is another it's a short video, and it says surveillance footage shows Georgia poll workers scanning the same batch of ballots multiple times.
Could easily account for the sudden and mysterious spike in votes for Joe Biden. Pearson Sharp, One America News.
Okay, you guys wasn't able to hear that, but I don't know if you remember Ruby Freeman. Ruby Freeman I believe she ended up suing Rudy Giuliani because she said that they made a false claim on her, saying that they did this election fraud. They said they scanned these ballots multiple times. And that the video that we just watched, that was Ruby Freeman in that video. So she ended up leaving. She ended up leaving her home. And I believe she ended up suing Rudy Giuliani. You guys put it in the chat. I believe that's, and her daughter. They end up suing. They end up winning big. Okay, it says the cost of repairing the reputation alone could be as high as $47 million. Let me see. Ruby Freeman lawsuit. It says Georgia election workers filed new complaint against Giuliani days after $148 million award. Okay, and their defamation case against former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss have filed a new complaint alleging he continues to make false claims. And the 10-page complaint filed Monday in this U.S. District Court as the federal judge to permanently bar defendant Rudolph W. Giuliani from persisting in his defamatory campaign against them. Okay, so, but they won big on that. Now, I mean, since this came about, is Rudy Giuliani wrong? I mean, the video that didn't play, that was on Trump's, not website, but on his social media account. Okay. But then you have this court case that's happening now. Will Rudy Giuliani be able to go back and say, hey, I wasn't lying? You guys put it in the chat. I wasn't lying. That's what it looked like. We did some investigation. Actually, the state, Georgia election the state of Georgia actually did their own investigation and found out that they were scanning duplicate ballots. Frank said, you know that Rudy Freeman was doing, and she sued Giuliani for millions, and that got away with something not right. Exactly. And it says, Frank says, when did they prosecute the people in Michigan? They didn't even prosecute them. They all offered them plea deals, and I think they accepted the plea deals. They didn't even go to court. Because most of the average age of those individuals, I think it was like 15 or 16. The average, I think the youngest one was like 60. So they end up taking like these plea deals, and you never heard anything from them. But Dana Nessel, she made sure that she went after them. So I'll repeat it now. Like I said, I'll replay this since you guys didn't see it. This is the same video that the court election, the state of Georgia, when they were in court, had their hearing. This is the same video that they're playing, and so apparently Trump's team got this video and they made a video about it, because this is on Donald Trump YouTube page, but this was downloaded 3 years ago. Okay.
Stuffed with ballots, footage analyzed by Gateway Pundit reveals Freeman apparently scanning the same stack of ballots over and over again. Surveillance cameras show these poll workers watched and waited until the GOP observers and reporters had left the room before they resumed scanning their ballots. These 4 workers then continued counting uninterrupted for over 3 hours until sometime after 1 in the morning. During this time, Ruby Freeman, as seen here in this video, repeatedly scanned the same batch of ballots at least 3 times, which is highly illegal, and it's all captured on tape. Freeman was working with her daughter, Wandrea Moss, who was also her election supervisor, and was also caught on camera as one of the 4 workers who remained behind after election monitors were forced to leave the building. Georgia's officials have made serious efforts to dismiss the evidence presented on these videos, but so far there has been no explanation as to why Ruby Freeman scanned the same ballots multiple times, nor why they remained behind while the rest of the building was evacuated. Lawyers said it's highly unusual for anyone to store briefcases full of ballots under tablecloths, and it's not clear when those briefcases were delivered or why Ruby Freeman and her daughter waited until GOP observers left before they got them out. Based on the number of ballots observed in the briefcases and the number of times Ruby Freeman scanned the same set of ballots, experts say they could easily account for the sudden and mysterious spike in votes for Joe Biden. Pearson Sharp, One America News.
So what can you say? And they won a big case against Rudy Giuliani. And now 3 years later come to find out, okay, Rudy Giuliani is not crazy. He wasn't just making these crazy defamatory, quote unquote, accusations against Ruby. No, I don't have anything against Ruby, but you see it on the tape. I mean, what can you say about that? And she's crying, oh, they're lying. Well, it seems like you lying. And if I was Rudy Giuliani and I've heard about this, I don't know if they're still in court about it or anything, or if they made a final decision. I would countersue her. And they need to drop that case because they basically ruined his life. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about that. What you think about that? I was seeing if they had any updates on the state election board. Okay. Anyway, I don't see nothing on here. Okay, so the final thing I want to talk about is Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris, she's gained support with the liberal, I guess you want to call them liberal white men. The liberal white men, they had a call last night. They said they had about 50,000 to 100,000 people on the call. And you know, it was kind of weird. I hate using that word because I want to show you a video where they're using the word weird against Trump and Vance, JD Vance. Now, it's a propaganda thing. All the mainstream media is using the word quote unquote weird. Don't know why they're doing that. I guess liberals, or they're just trying to paint Trump and JD Vance weird. I guess they don't have anything else to talk about. Anyway, so they're calling them weird. So I hate to use that word, but this is weird to me. This is really weird to me. You have they're saying white dudes for Harris. Speaker compares Zoom call to rehab, says this is a safe space for men to gather and share how they feel. He's voting for Kamala because she smiles, dances, and laughs. This is a man. Smile, dances, and laugh. I'm going to tell you a story. Maybe I'm just old school, and maybe you could put this, ladies, if you feel this same way, maybe put it in the chat. This was years before I met my husband. I was dating this guy. He was an attorney. And I wouldn't say dating because we only went out on a couple of dates. So we wasn't like, we went to work out. We work out a couple of times, jogging and stuff. And we went out on a couple of dates. I believe he was just finishing or passing his bar, so he was a lawyer and he had a Jaguar, old Jaguar. And he picked me up and he had a flat tire. This is back before like cell phones and stuff really got popular. But he, so we're just sitting there. I live downtown. He wasn't too far away. We all live downtown. He went to school downtown. So he wasn't, I was like walking distance. If I really wanted to, I could walk back home. But we just sitting there and he had a flat tire. And I was like, well, you don't know how to change a tire? And the guy looked at me and said, no, I don't. And I was like, okay. Hey, you don't have the money to call AAA. Maybe you wasn't raised by your dad or whatever, but you don't know how to change a tire. And what was baffling, I knew how to change his tire. I could have helped him, like, okay, what you do. But I'm thinking to myself, you went to get this law degree. And I believe he was passing a bar or just taking a bar or something like that. And you don't know how to change a damn tire. You can't do nothing for me. You can't change. I don't care how many degrees you get. If you can't change the tire, you can't get under that stove and fix it. If you can't hang up a curtain or something. And like I said, maybe this is something I should look at. I'm married now, so I'm not looking now. But is this something that people look at now? Is this a disqualifier for you to be a man? You don't know how to change the oil. You don't know how to change a tire. I know you trying to be highfalutin, but you should know how to change a tire. You don't have a brand new car, so you should know how to do something. Something. I'm not change a tire. I think that was like the most simplest, basic thing to do. And he didn't know how to do that. So I never talked to that guy again. I never, when he called me, I was, I answered the phone like, oh no, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't see myself with the guy that didn't know how to change a tire. And maybe that's just Chawanne, I was a bitch that day. I'm not for sure, but I really got irritated. I really was irritated that this guy didn't know how to change the tire. You know how to read all these books and you don't know basic life skills. To me, that's basic survival skills, because you might not have a brand new car all the time. You might not have AAA, but you should know how to change a tire. Anyway, this guy reminds me of a guy that don't know how to change a tire. I told you that long story because that's what he reminds me of.
Called and agreed to accept help. And so we found a good program for him to go through. He did it 90 days. It was awesome. But like families feel when someone goes through that, there's uncertainty about whether or not they'll relapse, about what's going to happen with their life, And after about, 2 or 3 years of him regularly coming, he had moved back to be with my dad on the East Coast, but regularly coming back, and you'd kind of be like, oh, do you have work? Like, what's going on? He was always coming back to be with his men's group. I think they had more than white men in that group. So, but the idea that men can gather to talk about how we feel, interesting, powerful concept. And the other side, they try and take everything that's good about us and demean it. Kamala Harris smiles. She laughs. She dances. She has joy. She's alive. And they try and ridicule her for that. And they try and undermine us.
They try to take everything that's good about us and ridicule us for it. Kamala Harris laughs, dances, smiles. Okay, I just want to I'm lost for words. I don't know why a man will say this about a president. I want to vote Kamala Harris in because she laughs, dances, and smiles. We're on the brink of possibly 3 wars, you guys. We have the Ukraine war. We have Israel and Hamas conflict. Iran don't like us. They don't like us butting into their conflict. They think, hey, we're going to settle. You're over there and you're funding Israel and you're giving band-aids to Palestinians. You need to mind your own damn business. Then you got Russia mad as hell at the United States because we're funding the Ukraine war. And Iran and China is doing military drills together on Cuba's land. I think I said something else, but it's Cuba. And Cuba, we did some dirty shit to Cuba a long time ago. And now I guess we're back friends again. I'm not for sure. But anyway, we're on the brink of maybe World War III. And you're worrying about laugh, dance, and smile. Does this make sense? This is on their call. They're laughing, dancing, and smiling. And he brought about the AA meeting from his friend. Oh, it's a safe space. And we could come, and it's a safe space and we could come and talk to each other. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a bromance. But why would you mention this about a person? I think that's pretty weird. A person that you're trying to elect as the leader of the free world. Leader of the free world, they worried about laugh, dancing, and smiling. That's what they worried about. Okay, so that happened with that. Kennard the DJ said she twerks. So, she was the back in the day. What's that girl named Haktua? Remember that girl that got famous, Haktua? That's Kamala Harris. She's like the 90s Haktua, I guess. Or maybe she'll be the 80s because she is 60, or maybe 70s. I guess you could call it 70s. H Spag, my father taught me how to do all this stuff, so I don't have to rely on anyone. I could get on in life and not have to rely on anybody. That's good. Lexi says, wah, 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 these people are so needy. This Kennard DJ, that's a space for them to have a circle jerk. Okay. Joseph said, that's the actor, Sean Austin. Hollywood opinions useless. So if Trump gets out and smiles, laugh, and dance, Sean will vote for him. Well, Trump got that one dance that he does all the time. So, but he don't smile much. I don't think, and then, I don't know if you guys seen Kamala lately. She hasn't been doing that laugh that she does. She hasn't been doing that. I guess they probably told her, hey, you're getting into a different realm of things. If you want to get respected on the world stage, you got to cut that laugh and shit out. People ain't going to take you serious. You're a woman, number one. So you already going to have a hard time talking to these Iranian leaders or these Muslim leaders. Putin probably won't really respect you. People that have a society that, they don't really respect women that much. Okay. So you're going to have a hard time anyway, because you're a woman. But then you're doing all that laughing and shit. They're not going to respect you. They're not. So she stopped doing that. She's not doing that no more. Kamala doesn't laugh. She cackles. Kamala doesn't laugh. She's a cackling hen. Okay, so that was one of the many posts that I've seen from this, I guess, event. They said they raised over $4 million. Now they raised over $4 million. Don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying they did. This is another dude. I thought he was about to cry. White Dudes for Kamala Harris meeting starts off by attacking masculinity. Okay, so to be a part of this crew, you need to cut off your balls and give it to somebody. I guess you give it to, the women. The women are the leaders in the Democrat Party. They're just on for the ride. Okay, they're going to fall back and let the real leaders take control. So if you want to be really supportive, you need to chop off your balls and give it to your wife, maybe if you have one, or you need to put it on the shelf. This is the sacrifice that you need to make when you join white men for Kamala Harris.
Happens at the same time as the myths around America that we grew up with, that we as men are expected to be protectors and providers, are going out into an economy that doesn't really allow for that, especially for working class folks. And sort of like compounding on that, masculinity as a trope has been co-opted by the MAGA right into something that feeds into and exacerbates the loneliness epidemic, as well as the mental health crisis that many face that end up leading to really destructive behaviors. We aren't the only ones that are hurt by these things. Black and brown people, LGBTQIA plus people, especially trans women and indigenous people, and all sorts of other folks in our society who've been historically and often still today are marginalized and being hurt, demonized, and
He named all the people, LGBTQ, trans, marginalized, I guess any minority, you're marginalized, and some other type of group, they're marginalized, historical marginalized. We're supposed to be protector and providers, but we can't do that because the environment doesn't allow us. No, you need to boss up and be a protector and provider. If that's your position, if you're the man, you should be the protector and the provider. Honey, I can't bring home steaks, but I could bring home beans and rice today. You're still providing food. I can't buy a loaf of bread. Hopefully your wife would, YouTube some videos of how to make bread. Just bring home the flour. Bring home some flour and some yeast and some milk. We can make some biscuits, some baking soda, and some baking powder. We can make some biscuits. We don't need no bread. Or there's non-yeast bread. You don't got no yeast. You can make the non-yeast bread. You don't need it to rise. Look up some YouTube videos. Oh, I don't make enough money. We're gonna have to cut some of these subscriptions off. It's times is hard. That's still being a protector and provider. They didn't say provider and protector means filet mignon. No, if she's with you, she gonna be with you regardless. So I don't understand what's the problem. Like I said, if you need to be a part of this group, if you want to be a part of this group, you got to chop it off. Chop it off and give it to your mate. That's your leader. That's your just imagine how the feminist movement has messed up people's minds so much. Now it's warped the men's mind for some reason. The men think, oh, I could just fall back and let my woman go to work all day while I stay at home and watch TV and clean up. To me, it's baffling to me. Now, if she want to work, and some people have to work because, this is the economy. You have to work. They have to have two parents. But she shouldn't have to. If she has kids, yeah, you guys could downsize, or if y'all want a certain life, okay, you got to go back to work. But come on now. You're forcing her, and you're like, oh, I'll stay home because you're better at that. You're a better leader than I am. Maybe I'm just old school. Maybe I'm just going off in the wrong direction, but that sounds crazy to me. Now, I believe women are real good organizers. And I believe some women are good leaders too. But we're talking about the leader of your household. One of my old school friends, they much older than us. When Donald Trump was running for the second time in 2020, I guess she never did tell me who was voting for Donald Trump and who wanted Biden. But her husband said, hey, since we can't agree, we not voting. Because he was like, no, we both got to agree on this election. You ain't going to cast the ballot and cancel my ballot. That don't make no sense. So he was like, no. So she was like, yeah. My husband, so-and-so told me we can't vote this election because we can't seem to agree who should win. So I was like, and I thought that was some real stuff. He laid his foot down like, nah, we got to be on the same page because we're talking about politics. This affects our family. And we can't be on different pages. That's like being a Christian and a Muslim. It doesn't work. Y'all might think it would. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Two different politics does not work. Anywho, like I said, they're chopping them off, euthanizing them. Is it euthanizing or castrating them? Castrating. So, what's funny about this that they had a Twitter page, and I guess somebody said it was racist because it says white dudes for blah, blah, blah. And you can't just put white dudes. You could put black something, blah, 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 or Indians, blah, blah, blah. That could be segregated. But when you put white dudes, blah, 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 that's a racist organization. Okay, so they end up suspending the account on Twitter. Like, this is so crazy. So it's kind of like backfiring. They want to be all inclusive, blah, 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 and they're not able to do what the people that they're champion for. And I wouldn't be surprised that somebody from their own party reported it. Like, this is not inclusive. They got white boys for Kamala. It should be everybody for Kamala. Okay, it should be everybody for Kamala, but this is what you guys do. You like being racist. Anyway, so just on a side note, before I get to Kamala's video, Roy Cooper was one of the guys that was VP shortlist. It was Roy Cooper, Mark Kelly. He's a governor, or no, I think he's a senator or something like that. In one of those states. But they're shortlist for VP, Harris VP. I believe Pete Buttigieg, I'm not for sure. They threw his name out there. I don't even think he's on there. And Josh Shapiro, he's on there. He's from Pennsylvania. But Roy Cooper decided, hey, I don't want to be on the shortlist. Count me out. He said, he cited that it's not the right time. The governor from North Carolina removed himself from Kamala Harris VP list, citing isn't the right time. I believe Roy Cooper didn't want to be part of this type of ticket. He's from North Carolina, Southern gentleman. No, he ain't with it. He ain't with it. He's not going to have a woman telling him what to do. He's Southern. You guys let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. Maybe they're more progressive in North Carolina. But when I was living in North Carolina, they were, you basically living in somewhere like Texas or Alabama. Those Southern states, they're real Southern. And they have traditional values, even though they might be Democrat. And he might be a more moderate Democrat, not progressive. So he said he didn't want to be a part of the losing ticket. I'm putting that out there. But yeah, so she doesn't have to decide on that one. Somebody is deciding for her, okay? Now, this other video I came across. They asked Kamala Harris about inflation. Now, she's actively campaigning and taking questions, and they firing out, we got this problem with inflation, and they asked her about the oil reserve. What are you going to do about that? This is the video.
From exacerbating the problem, the U.S. is experiencing record inflation, the worst in 30 years, beyond expectations. OPEC didn't increase oil production. Can you tell us a little bit about how you would prevent the new spending in your Build Back Better agenda from exacerbating the problem? And also, what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously. But there is also a point that is important to make on the Build Back Better framework. One, it is designed to make it less expensive for working people to live. It was specifically designed to bring down the costs of childcare and increase accessibility and availability. Designed to bring down the cost of elder care. And make it available to all those working families that need that support and need that help. And Build Back Better is not going to cost anything. We're paying for it.
Hilarious, okay? You didn't answer the question. You said, you started off explaining prices are higher. We already know that. That's because inflation makes prices go higher. We already know that. How are you going to fix it, Kamala? And you talked about the Build Back Better. Is that their plan? The Joe Biden's plan, Build Back Better plan? Then you talked about making child care more affordable and accessible. What does that have to do with food? What does that have to do with the prices of oil? This is the Build Back Better plan, strong economy for younger adults, child care, education. And they're talking about child care a lot in this. Child care, affordability, access to home ownership, climate crisis. You don't address anything about inflation here. You don't address it. Why would you even mention that? People are going to ask you about inflation, Kamala, because that's on Americans' mind. The cost of food, the cost of gas, just regular everyday stuff. Why wouldn't you have an answer for that? But instead you skirted around, then you put this bullshit that doesn't have anything to do with the prices in China. That tells me that you are incompetent. That tells me you were a DEI. And no one's getting mad and upset. And people that love Kamala Harris, they'll get mad and upset with you saying, that's not the book you was reading, Chase. So why would you get that book? That's not the book you was reading. Well, you find it. You're not starting a new book. Finish the book you started. Yeah, but you didn't finish the other one that you was reading yesterday. Chase, stop. Don't play with me. Okay? No one's, Kamala Harris supporters get mad at you when you ask them, okay, what is Kamala Harris' platform? What is she running on? We know she's running on women's reproductive abortion. We know she's running on giving illegal immigrants free housing, education, and health care. We know she's running on that. But any other thing are they going to talk about foreign policy? Are they going to talk about inflation as it relates to American economy? What economy period? Are you well versed in those subjects? If I was Donald Trump, I would not have canceled that debate. Matter of fact, I would have said, no, let's debate before the primaries. And he would have mopped her, used her as a mop on the floor. And they would have been like really scrambling because she doesn't know any of these type of subjects. She's not well versed. To tell you the truth, Donald Trump, reason why he's so good at answering these questions because everyone knows him worldwide. He's done business worldwide. He knows how the economy works. So that's why he's really good at this. And that's why I think he will be an excellent president again. But Kamala, she doesn't know this. It's nothing, no shade. Okay, you're at where you're at, but you're not fit to be the president. I'm sorry. You're just not fit. And it's like Lexi said, it's insufferable. This is really, really ridiculous. It's actually embarrassing. You're supposed to be, and you're claiming to be a black woman. Let's go full crazy on President Harris and VP Henyard, LOL. Kennard is saying, is she going to talk about complimentary lap dances for her vote? Oh, you guys, I got to share this with you. This is crazy. Well, we kind of knew this was happening. And I believe Biden did this last election. They was paying people $10 to go vote for him. But Kamala's doubling down on her stuff. Let me see if I can find, what's that guy's name? Kamala Harris is doubling down. Share this tab. Terrence. Okay. Remember I played him. He has Terrence K. Williams. He has his own pancake line. Pancake biscuits, syrup, and stuff like that. But he's also pretty funny. I don't think he does stand up, but to me, he's hilarious. Some people don't like him, but I think he's hilarious. He found out that they are paying people to support Kamala Harris. You could make $150 in cash to support her. You could make $150 in cash. Bonus incentives as small token of appreciation for those selected. Hurry spots are super limited. Okay. And it's called Launch Viral. They want to take over your social media account so they could send out mass propaganda.
Yo, do y'all see this? They are literally paying people to support Kamala Harris. If you pretend like you like her, you can make $150 in cash. She is so unlikable. They are paying people to like her. Yo, do y'all see this? They are literally.
She is so unlikable. They are paying people to like her. You are literally paying $150 to tell somebody, oh, let me post some of this content on your page. Because you don't have like the Trumpomania effect, the MAGA effect, like because people that are voting for Trump, they actually believe in what they're voting for. They believe in Trump. They believe that Trump will help save America. Yeah, that's the book. Okay, good job. Help save America and, bring back America to some type of civility and all this craziness that's been going on in the last 3.5 years. So you can't do that because Trump gets that for free. You can't do that because you're not a likable person. You should see some of these cringe videos that they've been posting. Cringe videos. These are their campaign videos. This is really ridiculous, yeah, you guys. Really ridiculous.
She can get bills passed in Congress that'll protect me and you. Black, white, Latino, Asian, or LGBTQ. She could get this country back to where we can stand tall. Keeping us safe from harm without building a wall. 'Cause she's a woman. W-O-M-A-N. I'll say it again. She's a woman. K-A-M-A-L-A. Woman. You better.
Does that does this make you want to get out and vote? Two men saying she's a woman. How insane or la la land can you be? You couldn't find no other women to say, oh, she's a woman? Okay, and maybe we could just have one drag person in there, okay? But you decided to put two men in there.
Get bills passed in Congress that'll protect me and you.
You could get bills passed in Congress and federally protect me and you. Okay. They're talking about all the bills and laws that they passed for the LGBTQ people and the Asian people. They never passed any bills for any Black Americans because Kamala, they asked her this a long time ago. She was like, well, I can't just pass bills just for Black people. Well, you and then while you're in office, like 10 days after you got in office, Joe Biden passed that Asian hate bill. Nothing wrong with it. I think it was a great thing to do. But you can't pass a law for the Black people. You can't. I guess not.
Black, white, Latino, Asian, or LGBTQ. She could get this country back to where we can stand tall. Keeping us safe from harm without building a wall. 'Cause she's a woman. W-O-M-A-N. I'll say it again. She's a woman. K-A-M-A-L-A. Woman. You better.
I don't got nothing else to say about it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, you guys. Canary, boo, boo. Do we have tomato emojis on here? Like that's a. Lexi says gross. Joseph, I like Trump on his record, but he's not a great debater. Sometimes he talks and gets off subject. He goes on a tangent. He didn't do that too much during Joe Biden's debate. Probably because maybe we didn't notice because Joe Biden was so bad. Maybe we didn't notice it. But he really made his talking points, and I thought he answered every question that they gave him. He talks in too many generalities, no specific. If Kamala has a moment like when she quieted Pence, it could throw Trump off track. I don't know, because Trump is a shit talker. I don't know if she could get him like Pence. Pence is more like a robot. Trump, he's real agile and fluid. He likes talking a lot of crap. And I think that's what makes him a pretty good debater. I think when they match up, he needs to hone on, like you said, cut out the general things, get really specific, hone in on your talking points, hone in very specific things. I don't mind him doing rebuttals, but when he does rebuttals, I think, like you said, don't do the general. Be very specific on his rebuttals with Kamala, because he knows what her weak spots are. Probably pretty much everything is her weak spot, you know. But yeah, I would like to see that. And like I said, well, I was about to say it before. If I was Donald Trump, I wouldn't have canceled the debate. I would have asked them, can they push up the debate prior to the primary election? I know why he canceled it, because we don't know if she's going to be the nominee. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't take it away from her. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so one last video I want to show you guys. Just to let you guys know, Washington Post just posted an article out about Kamala Harris on how she took over the White House. And it's saying that straight up admitting that Kamala Harris and Donald Brazil were colluding behind Joe Biden's back to shore up delegates before he even decided to check out the race. Okay. Donna Brazil, the former Democratic Party chair, and Bakari Sellers, the former South Carolina state lawmaker, started running their own delegate whip operation weeks before Biden bowed out. There was no public list of the 4,000 or so first ballot convention voters. The risk of it leaking, causing harassment and death threats, hung in the air. But Brazil and Sellers knew the local politicians, the union leaders, and the state party chairs who ran most delegations. Kamala Harris is a ruthless snake. Okay, so this is a post, Washington Post, how Kamala Harris took control of the Democratic Party. So right now, you know, Kamala Harris is probably at odds with Joe Biden and his family. This story just broke, I think, last night, or I think it was either this morning or last night. They probably already knew this, but this is just solidifying what they knew. Okay. Kamala is, pretty much undercutting Joe Biden. She's very ambitious. She has her eyes on a prize. I wonder what she promised Donna Brazil. Hey, if you help me with this election and get me in office, I could do X, Y, and Z for you. Don't be surprised when Democrats steal the election and Donna Brazil is named something in her White House. Don't be surprised. That's if she get the nomination. So she was working with the former Democratic Party chair. Okay, and this last video I want to share with you guys is I told you they're parrot talking, mainstream media. It doesn't matter what network you're on. They're parrot talking using the same word of their description of Trump and JD Vance. Okay, and they're saying this is really weird. Weird.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's where they are. As weird and creepy as JD Vance. Super weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. They're just plain weird.
Just plain weird. Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird. Deeply and profoundly weird. They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird. It's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies.
Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was his talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas.
I think weird is probably generous.
Simply weird. These guys are just plain weird.
Vance as weird?
You know, as the campaign said, weird.
It really is just plain weird.
JD Vance, plain weird.
No, I mean, I don't know how else you could read it.
Weird. It is kind of weird.
We're not afraid of weird people. The other side, they're just weird. Why are you being so weird?
Vance has done something more extreme, more weird.
No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Trump and Vance are just weird, in addition to being dangerous to democracy.
It's the weird part that's the most engaging.
Whom he addressed as my beautiful Christians, which was super weird.
Weird tech bro, JD Vance.
He's a weird guy.
JD Vance, uneasy and sort of weird.
Frankly, for lack of a better word, that he's weird.
Sarcastic remarks that aren't even funny, and he kind of shows that he can't really deliver a one-liner.
So, Sam, weird is the word here in terms of initial impressions from Vance to the American public.
Some of what he and his
It's baffling to me that they will use weird when describing Donald Trump and JD Vance. That is really weird that they would describe people like that, and then you have something like this. This is normal. What do you got this? What the hell is this? What is this? This normal? Come on now. It's just normal. And they're trying to paint Donald Trump and them weird. This is not weird. This is not weird. This is normal. I'm confused. Somebody tell me. I'm confused. Okay? Lexi said Donald Brazil has been corrupt. Always has been. She's always been corrupt. Okay. Joseph says the party of drag queens calling them weird. I guess that's the norm for them. That's the norm for them. Okay. You guys, I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember, you want to like, subscribe, and share this video. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.